Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be giving an update regarding an officer-involved shooting that occurred on May 4th in the 1400 block of West Haskell that is being investigated under the alert protocol. Just to remind everybody what alert is, it's a combined effort consisting of detectives, the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office, and the Wichita Police Department charged with investigating these type of significant incidents. It's important to note, alert is tasked with conducting a thorough criminal investigation. Their role is to gather facts and present them to the district attorney for legal review. Alert does not conduct administrative reviews related to the department policy, nor does the team make determinations about whether officers followed proper procedures or internal protocols. As part of this agreement, alert was activated and the sheriff's office assumed responsibility for investigating the officer-involved shooting. The individual that is deceased is identified as Antonio, goes by Tony Hernandez Zuniga. He is a 27-year-old male from Wichita. The day before this situation occurred, he was at a local bar where an incident occurred, and he started telling people that he wanted to end his life. What we've been told by family members, he has had mental health struggles, suicidal ideations for some time. A week before this unsuccessful attempt, he had a unsuccessful attempt to take his life. The firearm did not fire. He told his mom that, and his mom relayed that information to us. On the day in question, Monday, May 4th, at 11:50 a.m., and we have the timeline behind us, meets with a friend at a residence in the 1400 block of West Haskell after stating he did not want to be alone. The subject speaks with the friend for approximately 1 hour and makes statements about wanting to die. The friend later falls asleep on the couch. At 12:57 p.m., the friend wakes briefly for a phone call. Subject is still at the residence and friend falls back asleep. The subject is Mr. Hernandez Zuniga. At 1:48 p.m., home surveillance video captures the subject taking a Glock 9mm handgun from an entertainment center inside the house and walking out of the living room with the firearm in hand. At 3 p.m., the subject calls his mother, tells her he's going to kill himself, and says goodbye. The mother learns the subject's location from a family friend and confirms that his pickup is parked in the driveway of his friend's house. At 3:29 p.m., the subject's mother contacts ComCare Crisis and is referred to 911. She speaks with 911 and reports the subject as suicidal with access to firearms. The mother waits near the residence for officers to arrive. At 3:46 p.m., the Wichita Police Department officers meet with the mother with plans to conduct a welfare check at the residence on Haskell. Also on scene is the co-responders, mental health workers from the integrated care team are on scene at that point too. At 4:11 p.m., phone communication is established with the subject using the mother's phone. ICT personnel and officers speak with the subject and offer assistance in an attempt to de-escalate the crisis. At 4:18 p.m., ICT personnel maintain phone contact with the subject while two officers approach the residence, and it ends up being two officers and a sergeant. At 4:21 p.m., the two officers and a supervisor walk up the driveway and observe the subject seated in the driver's seat of a pickup parked in the driveway. 10 seconds later, one officer alerts the other officer that the subject has a gun. 1 second later, the subject raises the firearm and fires one round, which exits through the driver's side window. 1.9 seconds later, the officer that approached retreats, draws his firearm, and fires 5 times into the vehicle. At that point, the sergeant comes up to the vehicle, tries to break out the driver's side window, and end up having to use his baton, which was between 30 to 40 strikes to that window because it would not break. You'll see that in the video that we'll be showing, the hole that was created. And at that point, he reaches in. Tony has the 9mm firearm arm that he used to shoot himself in his right hand. The sergeant reaches into the window, retrieves the firearm, and then they unlock the doors and start trying to render aid. At 4:29 p.m., Sedgwick County EMS and Wichita Fire arrive and assume patient care. At 4:32 p.m., the subject is pronounced deceased at the scene. So the next thing we're going to show you is some video and some photos that were taken from Axon body camera. Video 1 is the subject taking the gun off the entertainment center. The next is a still photo of the officer as he is walking up to the pickup where Tony is seated. You can see that his gun is holstered when they walk up to the vehicle. At that point, they did not know he was in the vehicle, and they notice that he is in the vehicle and verbally say, "Oh, he's in the vehicle." So in the next video, is the camera from the officer you just saw as he approaches the pickup. You will hear his partner say he's got a gun. A second later, a shot is fired from the individual. We will also slow it down to 50%, and the video stops as the glass is broken from the shot that he has fired at himself.
Oh, he's got a gun.
So what we're going to do is we're going to play it again, and we'll show that the officer, when they're approaching, you don't see the indention in the window because that particular officer does not see the gun. The female officer that's behind the truck is the voice you hear saying he's got a gun. So we're going to slow it down, stop it so you can see where the window doesn't have the indention. After he fires the first shot, you see the indention in the window. That's due to him having that weapon in his right hand on the right side of his head and firing that weapon. And it traversed through him and hit the passenger side window. If you can do that for me, please, Brandon.
This is the point where there is no indication.
This is the point where there is no indication. And what we're talking about here is you'll see up in this area right here, there's no indention in the window. And then once the shot is fired, you can see the indention in the driver's side window from the shot he fired at himself. And then in the next photo, you will see the officer approaching and that he did have his weapon holstered.
Sorry, that was Sheriff, I'm sorry.
So that's the officer approaching. Prior to the shot being fired, he had his weapon holstered. And then if we move to the final still, you will see where the officer fired rounds at the individual inside the vehicle because he felt he was being shot at. And these are the rounds that entered the window. What you see on this side is that same window you saw before that the shot was fired out of. He used his baton to get in through that window, to unlock the door, to retrieve the weapon, and then also to start rendering aid. Any questions so far on the video or still photos? Okay. Finally, the autopsy was conducted yesterday by the Forensic Science Center. They have determined that, in fact, he did shoot himself. And as I described it, from right to left. And then he also suffered a gunshot wound to the back of his head from one of the rounds, and only one round from the officer struck him. That autopsy is still undetermined at this point, but we will update you once they make a determination. Finally, what I want to talk about is some of the media has had an individual that we also spoke with at the scene talking about what he observed. What he observed did not take place. The female officer did not fire any rounds. The blonde female, as he describes her. There was a gunshot before the rounds fired, which he does not describe as taking place. And so I want to clear up any misunderstanding that has taken place on this case because of a witness, and it's a witness. Sometimes witnesses get stuff wrong. But the way he described what he observed is not factual. And with that, I will take any questions.
You said 5 rounds were fired from the officer?
5 rounds were fired from the officer. Also, to follow up all of this information, once it's gathered, we will present to the DA's office to see if there's any type of charges that will take place.
Did police announce themselves?
No, they did not.
So if there's clear 3 bullet holes in the back of the back windshield. Did the other 2 hit the garage behind it, or did they?
No, they're in it hit the truck, but
Okay.
it didn't hit the windshield. And to follow up on your question on that, ma'am, as you can see, you saw that live time. They realize he's in the truck, he puts the gun to his head and shoots. And it all happened within about 2.9 seconds.
Right. Because they thought they didn't know he was in the truck.
They did not know he was in the truck.
Right. Okay.
Correct.
How many fatal officer-involved shootings was that for this year so far?
I couldn't tell you that. I don't know. We're working this for the police department, so that's a question that you would have for them.
Do you know if the mother or the family of the victim called about the victim before, or is this kind of the first time they've reached out for help?
As far as I know, 911 has never been called before. I know in the past they've tried to get him help through other resources.
How stressful or distressing can situations like this be for the officers involved?
Well, it's very stressful for them. The mother's on scene. It's stressful for the family. The fact of the matter is that you're going there to hopefully help someone from preventing suicide, and then they do it in front of you, and that can be very stressful. And then also, thinking that you've been shot at and firing rounds back is a stressful situation for anybody that's involved.
And I know this was mentioned on Tuesday when it happened, or Monday, sorry, but the officer was placed on administrative leave, correct? How long?
You have to ask the Wichita Police Department anything about administrative stuff.
Okay.
We only handle the criminal side.
Sounds good.
With this Rashomon effect, you have stories from almost 5 witnesses, from the police, 3 neighbors, and then the camera. Apparently there was a camera attached to the building looking at the vehicle. Will that video ever be shown, just what was that camera saw?
Yeah, so currently right now, there is no video of the actual shooting from that camera. And so we're still working with the homeowner on that, but currently there's video of the truck arriving at the house. There's video of the truck backing out and then backing back in. But of the actual incident, it did not, I don't know if motion detection didn't capture it. I don't know. We don't know. But there is no outside video that we have found of the actual shooting incident.
Can you say and spell the victim's name one more time?
Yes.
For us, please?
Antonio, Antonio, he goes by Tony Hernandez, Hernandez hyphen Zuniga, Zuniga. Any other questions?
We spoke to one neighbor who said that the gunshot from the car sounded especially muffled, maybe more so than they would expect a gunshot to sound. Would that just be car isolation, or was there something on the gun that made it quieter or anything?
No, it's because it's inside of a vehicle.
Okay.
And it was the victim's house, right?
No.
Or the mother's house?
No, it was a friend,
Right, friend.
the same friend that he retrieved the handgun from.
Was the friend home at the time?
He was asleep on the couch. Anything else?